What is one thing that is way more important than the brand of chemicals that you guys use when you're detailing? It's the actual process and the techniques that you guys use to get the job done. Having a process in place is gonna make you guys a much more valuable detailer and a more efficient detailer. So today I'm gonna be giving you guys my 10-step interior detailing process to get any car's interior clean, whether that's a complete disaster detail or you're working on a pretty well-maintained vehicle. This will work for anybody, whether you guys are a professional or you guys are just somebody looking to clean out your own personal vehicle on the weekends. Now, before we get started, I did a few videos leading up to this one, going over all the chemicals that I use to detail and going over all the different tools and stuff that I'd use for my average detail. So I'm gonna leave a link to that down in the description down below. And I'm also gonna be going over this exact same detail in a future video in depth so that you guys can see how I use all my chemicals, what different tools we use and when. But today we are sticking solely to the interior detailing process. So let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's jump straight into my 10 steps to get your car clean. So starting off with step number one, guys. Step number one is just simply blowing open all the doors on the vehicle and getting all the client's personal items cleaned out. Now, really, as soon as I open up the doors on the vehicle, me as a business, I do a quick little video inspection all the way around the interior and usually the exterior of the car, even if it's only an interior. I'll do a quick video inspection, assess any damages, anything that might be missing from the vehicle, maybe the little plastic pieces or the pieces in the cup holders might be missing. Just do a quick video assessment of the entire vehicle. This is gonna minimize anything that may occur later. I've never had any issues with this, but even just the detail that I did the other day, they were missing one of the little rubber pieces that goes in the side handle pocket. And you know, you don't wanna be blamed for those little things later. So a quick video inspection is always nice when you're blowing those doors open. Getting into step number one, once you guys blow those doors open, you're gonna go ahead and clean out the vehicle of all that client's personal items, or your personal items if it's your vehicle. But you're gonna go ahead and clean out all those personal items. A lot of cars that come to me, sometimes they will be completely cleaned out, and I kind of think that some of these clients are the ones that think that you're gonna steal something from them. I can assure you guys, we are not looking to steal anything as a detailer. It's not really worth it when we're getting paid $300, $400, $500 to do a detail to steal little items out of a car or whatever the case may be. What we typically do is we actually take the time to separate all your change into a separate change bag. We flatten all your receipts and we lay them all together, usually putting those also in a plastic baggie. That way you guys can go through all your receipts. I don't know if they're for expense reports or for your business or whatever, so I don't want to throw anything out, and I like to organize everything for you. Your electronics, I'll take all the, the 12-volt chargers and the cables and anything else that's electronic in the vehicle, put that in its own separate baggie. I'll stack up any books, you might have in the vehicle and put those in its own separate bag. But I really try to organize everything and put it in the trunk of the vehicle. That way the client doesn't think that I just grabbed everything out of their vehicle and threw it in a garbage bag. Now, sometimes, like this particular vehicle, I actually was instructed to throw everything out in the vehicle. The customer did not want anything. Now, in these cases, I still try to try to think about what I'm throwing out, and I'll still put all like the more things that I might think have any kind of value. I'm gonna make sure I put those in the trunk so the client can go through those later. Moving on to step number two, once you guys are done cleaning out the vehicle of all the personal items, this should really only take a few minutes. If it does take longer than that, I always charge for this service, guys. I don't mind cleaning out vehicles. In fact, I've even had clients who are maybe not able to clean out their vehicle, or maybe even like a very elderly client where they are wanting their vehicle cleaned out. They want some help with it, and in those cases, I'm more than I'm more than happy to help you guys clean out your vehicle. But anyways, guys, keep the clean out quick if you can, and some of this stuff you can always start pulling out of the car during the vacuum phase and stuff like that. So don't get too hung up on this part of cleaning out the vehicle. You can always keep your garbage bag close by so you can throw out the garbage, and keep a couple extra baggies to throw some of the personal items in if you end up finding anything else. Moving on to step number 2. Step number 2, this is everybody's favorite part of the detail, or of interior detailing, and that is the blowout. But the blowout, guys, this really should only take you guys a few moments to do the blowout. I like to start in the front seat and work my way around the vehicle. So I guess this is a good time to talk to you guys about my route. Now, my route, we're gonna be using the same exact route all the way throughout this interior detail, throughout the different cleaning processes that we're gonna be doing throughout the detail. So I always like to start in my driver's seat, work my way back to the driver's side passenger seat, do all my cleaning in that area, whatever that might be at that time. Then I kind of move across that back seat into the back passenger seat, and then I move up to the back to the front passenger seat. So I'm just doing a little U around the back of the car and getting to all the spots that I need to get. And I'm just repeating that throughout the whole detail. So for the blowout, I start at the driver's side, go top down, blowing out everything from the door. I blow out the seat, I blow off the dash, and I get everything onto the floor. Once I'm done in that area, I'm hopefully completely done with the blowout in that section. I move on to the next section, do my top down blowout, and move on to the next section. Now, I don't like to spend a lot of time doing my blowout on the vehicle because I find that doing a ton of blowing actually can create a bigger mess for you guys. Next thing you know, you got dust in places that dust shouldn't even be because you're literally forcing it all around the car, agitating all the carpets. Some of this stuff you really want to save for later on in the detail. So when it comes to your blowout, guys, keep this short and quick. Get the majority of the dust and heavy debris out of the cup holders, side pockets, blow off the seats, all that kind of stuff. But this shouldn't take you very long, and this is something that you can easily spend way too much time on. Moving on, guys, is step number 3, and that is cleaning our plastics. Now, I like to break this down into 2 separate steps. First, we are going to be cleaning all of our door cards, and we're going to be cleaning our door trim panels that lead into the car. So we're going to be cleaning all the door cards, the pockets, the buttons, everything on the door cards, and then we're just going to move simply straight into the vehicle. We're already right there, right next to the door. So go ahead and move straight into the vehicle and do all the interior door trim panel pieces that are plastic. And I typically will even do the little seat control area, the area with the seat controls or the levers, all the plastic pieces around the bottom of the seat. That way I'm pretty much done with everything outside of the car with the doors open. I'm done, and I'm already moving into the vehicle. And really the only other thing that we're gonna have after that is the dash and the center console. So I always start on my driver's door, work my way back to that driver's side door, over to the rear passenger door, and then bump up to the regular passenger door. And by then I am done with almost all of my plastics. This is like a huge portion of the detail, and yeah, you're already gonna be done with it at this point. So now, guys, at this point, we have all of our door card plastics done and all of our inner door trim plastics are done. So all we need now to do is step number 4, which is our dash and our center console. Now, starting with the dash, guys, I still work with a top-down approach, but I do start with my steering wheel first. Now, the reason I start with the steering wheel first is because you don't want to be trying to clean your steering wheel last and you're spraying over all the work that you just did. So I always start with the steering wheel first, and then I move to the top of the dash, working my way to the face of the dash, down to the actual center console. Once you get done with the driver's side, I just kind of bump over to the passenger seat and get any areas that I might have missed. So that little spot right next to the passenger's leg, there's always a plastic piece right there, and typically any parts of the upper dash that I couldn't reach, but this usually only takes like 2 seconds, and you usually have a majority of the dash already clean by the time you're moving away from the driver's seat. Now at this point, you have all your plastics are done. This is literally probably like a third of the detail right here, guys. And usually I have this done in around 20 to 25 minutes, having the entire, side, all the 4 door cards done, the the inner door trim plastic, and the actual, dash and center console. This really doesn't take me that long, and this is a huge portion of the detail, but having a system for it is going to keep you guys from jumping all around the car, bouncing from the front seats to the back seats and wiping. When I first started, guys, I was bouncing all around the car, grabbing tools for this and trying to vacuum do everything in the driver's seat, then move to the back seats, and then move to, it was just not a system that was super efficient, and I found this system to be just a much more efficient system. Now that we're done with all the plastics, we are now ready to move on to step number 4, which is vacuuming all of your upholstery and your carpets. Now, at this time, this is when I actually do all of my vacuuming, guys. First, starting with the seats. If you guys need to do another really quick blowout on the seats, go ahead and feel free to, but just know that usually I just go straight into vacuuming at this point. I've already should have done my blowout earlier, and if I do another blowout now, it's actually gonna end up, just throwing a whole bunch of dust on all my clean plastics. So I usually try to avoid doing any more blowouts at this point when it comes to, vacuuming and that type of stuff. I should already be done with vacuuming or with the blowout. So go ahead and bust out your guys' drill brush, and I typically drill brush all my seats, get all my seats done, working my route. Once I get all my seats done, I work my way down to the carpets and run that same route that we've been running all day, and get all my carpets clean, starting with the driver's seat, moving to the back seats, and then finishing up with the passenger side seat or passenger side floor area. Now guys, once we are done with all of our vacuuming, some cars we may need to take a little further with some upholstery steaming and or extraction. So at this point in time, guys, I would normally bust out my steamer and my extractor depending on how bad the car is. Sometimes it's just one or the other, but at this point in time, I start focusing on finishing up all my upholstery. Now, if my upholstery needs to be steamed, I first steam it, and then I'll typically go over it with my extractor to suck out all the rest of the contaminants and to pull out any of the chemicals that are still left in the fabric. Now, moving on from there, guys, is step number 7, and not every vehicle is going to need just like number 6, guys, not every vehicle is going to need step number 7, and that is carpet steaming and extraction. Now, depending on the carpets, guys, I typically am just steaming them if they aren't that bad at all, and if they are really bad, then I'm typically just going straight into extraction. I typically, for the carpets, am not doing both unless there's a lot of heavy staining, and I know my steamer is going to be able to knock out the staining, while the extractor will be able to pull out all the heavy dirt and all that kind of stuff. So usually it's just one or the other with my carpet steaming and extraction, but yeah, depending on the results that you guys are going to get, you guys may need to do both, or you may just need to do a quick steaming. Now at this point, guys, the vehicle is pretty much clean, and we just need to touch everything up. So step number 8, guys, I go over the entire vehicle with a UV protectant or a detail spray. Now typically when I'm applying my dressing to the vehicle, I typically use a spray gun, and I find that this kind of not only sprays the dressing onto the surface, but it also kind of atomizes it, gets it into all the little nooks and crannies and the texture of the plastics and stuff like that, and it really does a really nice job of just finishing the detail off. And then I typically come through with a microfiber towel and just wipe everything down one last time to get the finish that I want, which is normally that nice natural looking finish. So typically, I'll just, you know, dress the entire vehicle. I stay away from dressing the dash. Usually for the dash, I'll just take the dressing that's already on my microfiber towel and just kind of wipe up the dash real quick. I usually don't like spraying a lot of dressing on the dash, as well as the steering wheel and floor mats are 3 areas of the vehicle that I normally do not dress. So depending on your guys' tastes and your clients' tastes and all that kind of stuff, you guys may want to do the same, but I definitely don't dress my floor mats because I don't want them to be slippery. If I was gonna dress them, you guys would definitely want to look at getting some kind of floor mat specific dressing. And the dash, you just don't want tons of bright light shining off them when they're driving on the highway or something at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So anyways, guys, you just don't want to address certain areas of the vehicle, probably for obvious reasons. Steering wheel, you don't want that to be slipping in their hands and stuff like that. You would want to use something a lot light UV protection, something non-greasy, all that kind of stuff. I usually use a water-based dressing that works really well, but for a lot of those areas like the dash and the steering wheel, I'm just using whatever's already barely on my microfiber towel and just kind of giving it a quick wipe down. I'm not really applying a ton of dressing to those areas. Moving on from dressing, guys, now that we have all of our plastics dressed and sprayed down and all that kind of stuff, we can now do our windows. Now, I save this for after we dress the vehicle because typically when you guys are spraying your dressing or wiping it around, your microfiber towel or your sprayer, you might get a little bit on your windows. So it's kind of a waste of time to do your windows before you dress the vehicle, just because you're going to end up having to go back over the windows again because it's inevitable that you're going to get a smudge somewhere on the windows, whether it's one of the side pieces of glass or the front windshield or whatever. I always end up getting a tiny little smudge on my windows if I do my dressing last. Moving on from the windows, the last thing that I typically finish with are my floor mats. Now, whether they're rubber floor mats or they're carpeted floor mats, I don't know why. I probably could bump this up to, you know, to similar to around the carpet extraction time, but I typically end up just having those set to the side and I end up taking care of them at the very end. And then once I have them done, once I have my floor mats done, I actually just lay them out to dry or lay them out and continue on and do all my final touch-ups, whatever else I need to do with that detail so that I can call the client and get the car delivered. Now, this is my full 10-step process to getting your guys' car's interiors clean, whether it's well-maintained or a complete disaster. This is a great guide to guide you from dirty to clean, and sometimes you're not gonna need to use all of these steps. Sometimes you're gonna be able to, you know, combine steps such as all the plastic cleaning and the dressing. You guys could use something like D3 by Suds Lab. This is an amazing product that not only cleans plastics, leathers, and vinyls, but it also dresses all your plastics, leathers, and vinyls. So this can literally cut the time in half depending on how dirty the vehicle is. A product like this could save you guys a ton of time, especially on something like a maintenance detail. And shout out to Miranda's Detailing because I just saw their video on this. Tried it on one of my maintenance details this week, which was a Mercedes, and it came out phenomenally well, and I got the interior done in probably about half the time. So maybe 2/3 of the time, but you guys get what I mean. Sometimes you guys are gonna be able to combine steps. Sometimes you guys are gonna be able to skip steps entirely, like maybe you don't need to do the steaming and carpet extraction. Maybe the carpets look immaculate because there are some WeatherTechs in there or something like that. But anyways, guys, this is just my 10-step process to getting a vehicle clean. In the comments down below, let me know what your guys' process is to getting your vehicle clean or your client's vehicles clean. I think my process is a great process, but as long as you have a process, I think that is what is really going to make you guys more efficient. Having a general way that you guys go about doing your details and getting them done from point A to point B, or when it comes to just getting a car from dirty to clean. So anyways, guys, I know we didn't talk about chemicals much in this video, but like I said in the introduction, you guys can always check out my video on my top 5 detailing chemicals for interiors, and you guys can also check out that video on all the different tools and stuff I use. But as always, guys, you guys can always check out our resources page over on jamiesdetailing.com/resources. You guys can see a whole list of all the products and tools that we use for professional detailing, along with a chemical booklet that will actually tell you guys all the dilution ratios that I use, and all the off-label dilution ratios that I use for all the different chemicals that we use professionally. So definitely check out jamiesdetailing.com/resources. Check out our little chemical book. Check out all the links to the different products and tools that we use. But that's my only plug for today's video. So anyways, guys, I hope by the end of this, you guys got something out of this video, and you guys can go from having a relatively dirty car to getting it clean in a relatively quick period of time using this 10-step process. But in the comments down below, guys, let me know what your guys' process is for getting your guys' car's interiors clean, and that's pretty much all I have for today's video. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Oh no. Get off of my door.